Welcome, my bountiful friends. Deck the halls with holly and get out the mince pies, because today we're getting festive. I recently did my top 10 haunted house reads for the Halloween special, and today I'll be doing the same thing for Christmas. But before we begin, please like and subscribe to this video, it's greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, it's worth looking a little at the history of the subgenre of Christmas stories. They originally began as short moral tales and poems in the 19th century, that then evolved into novellas and full-length novels that shaped how we imagine the holiday today. Writers like Charles Dickens, Dr. Seuss, and Charles Van Allsburg became popular because they captured the key themes of generosity, redemption and wonder. A Christmas novel typically blends festive atmosphere, moral transformation, family or community focus, and a sense of magic or nostalgia. Contemporary authors such as Maureen Johnson, John Green, and Lauren Myracle have used Christmas settings for romantic comedies or social satire, showing that this subgenre has the adaptability in being utilised in other main genres. Thus, Christmas literature has evolved from moral allegories into diverse narratives, ranging from children's fantasy to adult fiction, that still often circles back to the core traditional values. I have selected 12 curated novels and short story collections that are my own personal favourite embodiments of Christmas literature. Some are better known than others, and most are intended for an adult readership. I'm a big fan of genre fiction in general, therefore there may be some slightly less obvious ones here. So, nestling a glass of sherry while sat before a roaring log fire, these are my favourite Christmas reads. Okay, so I'm starting with a super obvious one. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol is the quintessential Christmas novel that fathered a million film adaptations, of which, I may add, Scrooged is my personal favourite. This novel was originally written to confront Victorian social inequality and revive fading Christmas traditions, and it has endured because its social themes remain universally resonant to this very day. It was written as a novella, and it blends ghost story conventions with moral allegory. Dickens framed the tale around Ebenezer Scrooge, a miserable miser whose transformation from greedy curmudgeon to generous benefactor is catalysed by a steadily escalating and increasingly ominous supernatural visitation. The narrative is compact yet layered. It combines gothic imagery of ghosts and visions of death with the festive warmth of feasts, family gatherings and carols. This duality makes the story both entertaining and morally instructive. Dickens himself described it as a ghostly little book intended to raise the ghost of an idea in the reader's mind. At its core, this story dramatizes redemption through compassion. Scrooge's journey from isolation to community mirrors the broader Victorian struggle to reconcile industrial progress with human welfare. The ghosts embody time itself, past, present and future, forcing Scrooge to confront the moral and physical consequences of his choices. This structure gave the story a timeless rhythm, ensuring that it could be retold across generations. For me, with all the previous stated elements still standing strong, I also enjoy reading this one for the whole Victorian Christmas vibe. I also enjoy witnessing Scrooge's world being rocked by the invasion of supernatural spirits, intent on showing him the error of his ways. At number 11, we have our first alternative genre foray that utilises the Christmas subgenre, and it's an unusual one. Sci-fi is one of the rarer genres connected with the holiday season. Connie Willis's Doomsday Book, written in 1992, is not a Christmas novel in the traditional sense, yet it has become deeply associated with the holiday because of its setting, themes, and emotional tone. The structure parallels the classic Christmas literature. Though it is a science fiction time travel narrative, its heart lies in compassion, sacrifice, communal care, and the search for meaning in the face of suffering. Qualities that resonate strongly with Christmas storytelling. The novel unfolds across two timelines, mid-21st century Oxford and 14th century England during the Black Death. The protagonist is a young historian who travels back in time to study the medieval period. She intends to land around 1320 near Christmas, but due to a miscalculation and a technician's illness, she instead arrives in 1348, just as the plague begins its catastrophic sweep across England. The protagonist becomes gravely ill upon arrival and is nursed back to health by villagers, forming deep bonds with them, especially with Agnes, a child, and Father Roche, a devout priest who becomes one of the book's emotional anchors. Although the book spans pandemics and historical catastrophe, it is framed by Christmas in both timelines. The protagonist arrives near Christmas, and the Oxford storyline unfolds during the holiday season, but the deeper Christmas resonance comes from its themes. There's compassion in crisis, with characters repeatedly choosing generosity over fear, echoing the more moral core of Christmas literature. There's sacrifice and self-giving, community and shared humanity, and light in darkness. The novel's emotional arc mirrors the Christmas narrative of hope emerging in the bleakest winter. In this sense, Doomsday Book functions like Dickens's Christmas Carol, a story about moral clarity revealed through suffering, set against the symbolic backdrop of Christmas. At number 10, we have our first entry into a rich mainstream genre that often takes a foray into Christmas, using it as a backdrop and setting for a murder mystery. I speak, of course, of the crime genre, where a murder is committed and the reader typically follows a detective or sleuth in uncovering the motive and the culprit. Our first entry into festive crime is P.D. James's The Mistletoe Murders and Other Stories. This is a 2016 Christmas crime classic that is a collection of 4 short mysteries, 2 of which are explicitly set at Christmas. The title story, The Mistletoe Murder, has become especially associated with the holiday season because it blends the cosy trappings of an English country house Christmas with James's signature psychological darkness. The result is a Christmas book that subverts the usual warmth of the season by revealing the tensions, secrets, and moral ambiguities that can lurk beneath festive surfaces. According to the summaries, James was frequently commissioned to write a short story for Christmas, and these stories evoke the spirit of classic whodunits, whilst being set at Christmas or having a Christmas theme. Christmas becomes a stage for family gatherings strained by old resentments, country house atmospheres full of snow, isolation, and ritual. The contrast between holiday cheer and human darkness. This tension between the season's idealized harmony and the reality of human frailty is what makes the collection feel distinctly, if unusually, Christmas. The 4 stories have a rich atmosphere of wartime austerity, English countryside, and holiday rituals. There's moral ambiguity, and James often ends her stories with unsettling or ironic twists. All 4 are tightly crafted mysteries with strong narrative hooks. Because the stories are compact and elegantly written, they're ideal for holiday reading. Something cosy yet intellectually sharp, festive yet shadowed by human complexity. Number 9 is something of a surprise to myself. We are all familiar with John Grisham and his many sterling film adaptations. He is perhaps arguably the eminent courtroom drama author and one of the leading thriller genre writers. But with 2001's Skipping Christmas, we have a radical departure from his usual literary locale as he playfully subverts the Christmas genre by rejecting its usual emphasis on tradition, sentimentality, and communal festivity. Instead, he satirizes the pressure of conformity and commercialization. The novel follows Luther and Nora Crank, a suburban couple who decide to skip the holiday season altogether, only to discover how deeply Christmas rituals are embedded into society and community life. Its appeal lies in its humour, relatability, and critique of holiday excess, making it attractive to readers who enjoy light satire, suburban comedy, and reflections on modern consumer culture. Most Christmas novels emphasize nostalgia, generosity, and magical transformation, but Grisham flips the script by focusing on resistance to tradition. Instead of celebrating the holiday warmth, Luther initially embodies cynicism as he continually calculates costs and rejects traditional rituals. The satire exposes the commercialization and social coercion that lays behind modern Christmas. Decorations, parties, and gift-giving have become, for many, obligations rather than joy. The novel's comedic tone makes it accessible and entertaining for modern readers, poking fun at suburban rituals. Many readers will identify with the financial and emotional strain of holiday preparations, and for suburban American readers, the exaggerated neighborly pressure highlighting real social tensions in a light-hearted way may be especially relatable. At under 200 pages, it is brisk and easy to read, and therefore perfect for the busy holiday season. We now have another solid crime entry with Georges Simenon's A Maigret Christmas and Other Stories. It's a compact but atmospheric collection of 3 seasonal tales set in Paris, each blending the warmth of Christmas with the shadows of crime. This collection showcases Simenon's gift for psychological insight and his ability to evoke the city's winter mood. The stories are A Maigret Christmas, 7 Small Crosses in a Notebook, and The Little Restaurant Near Place de Turn, which is subtitled A Christmas Story for Grown-Ups. All 3 stories are set during the Christmas season, and the holiday atmosphere is central to their tone. Christmas becomes a thematic counterpoint. The season of generosity and innocence is contrasted with crime, loneliness, and moral ambiguity. Simenon uses the holiday not for sentimentality but to heighten emotional stakes. Children, families, and acts of unexpected kindness all take on greater weight against the festive backdrop. Simenon's Christmas stories are not cozy mysteries in the traditional sense. Instead, they combine a noir Parisian atmosphere of snow, lights, cafes, and the melancholy beauty of winter. Psychological realism is Simenon's hallmark, giving even these short stories great emotional depth. It is a blend of darkness and warmth, crime and loneliness set against moments of grace, and, like the subtitle of the last tale, they are Christmas tales for adults. They are festive but unsentimental, humane but never naive. Because the stories are short, elegant, and richly atmospheric, they make ideal seasonal reading for those who want something festive but not sugary. At number 7, we have another serious deviation from an author who is heavily associated with the courtroom thriller and crime genres. David Baldacci's 2003 The Christmas Train is a holiday novel that blends romance, mystery, and adventure, following journalist Tom Langdon on a cross-country train ride where he rediscovers love and the spirit of Christmas. Its appeal lies in its mixture of classic Christmas themes with Baldacci's suspenseful storytelling, making it a warm yet unpredictable seasonal read. The novel centers on a disillusioned journalist who, after being banned from flying due to an airport security incident, decides to travel from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles by train in time for Christmas. His journey is both practical. He wants to reach his girlfriend, and personal, as he hopes to reconnect with his roots and rediscover the holiday spirit. The Christmas Train draws from classic Christmas literature traditions, namely nostalgia, redemption, and the magic of the season, while infusing them with Baldacci's trademark suspense. Unlike Dickens's moral allegories or lighter children's tales, Baldacci situates his story in a romantic comedy mystery hybrid, using the train journey as both literal travel and metaphorical transformation. The confined setting echoes the journey narrative common in holiday stories, where characters are forced into proximity and must confront their pasts. The Christmas Train stands out as a holiday novel that combines romance, mystery, and adventure within a festive framework. By setting the story on a train, Baldacci creates a contained yet expansive stage for rediscovery, forgiveness, and human connection. Its enduring appeal lies in its ability to balance holiday warmth with narrative suspense, making it a distinct addition to the Christmas canon. At number 6, we have an entry from the Queen of Crime. Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot's Christmas, written in 1938, is one of her most enduring seasonal mysteries. A locked room murder sets during a tense family gathering at Christmas time. The novel blends Christie's signature puzzle plotting with the emotional volatility of a dysfunctional family forced together for the holidays. Although the book is not sentimental or festive in the traditional sense, Christmas is essential to its structure and tone. The holiday provides a forced family reunion where a patriarch summons his estranged children home for Christmas, creating the volatile conditions necessary for murder. There's a seasonal expectation of harmony which Christie gleefully subverts with cruelty, resentment, and violence. It has a locked-in atmosphere where winter weather and holiday obligations trap the characters together, heightening the tension. Christie herself once said she enjoyed contrasting peace on earth with human malice, and Hercule Poirot's Christmas is a perfect example of that contrast. It features one of Christie's most violent murders, described as grisly and shocking. And the masterful locked room puzzle showcases Christie's ingenuity. It's a psychological family drama exploring generational trauma and patriarchal cruelty, and is full of seasonal irony. Christmas cheer contrasted with familial hatred. The novel is often praised for its tight structure and emotional depth. And lastly but not least, it features Christie's signature Belgian sleuth, Poirot, with his magnificent moustache. Louisa May Alcott's Little Women was written as a girl's book in 1868 but became one of the most beloved novels in American literature. Its initial reception was overwhelmingly positive, with readers demanding sequels. Though not solely a Christmas novel, its opening chapters and themes of generosity, family, and moral growth tie it closely to the holiday spirit. What makes it unique is its blend of semi-autobiographical realism, domestic detail, and moral instruction, which created a new genre of literature for young women. It possesses semi-autobiographical realism. Alcott drew directly from her own family, grounding the story in lived experience. It also has a domestic focus. Unlike the adventure novels of the era, Little Women is centered on home life, relationships, and moral dilemmas. Each sister represents a different path. That is to say, domesticity, artistry, independence, or sacrifice, allowing readers to identify with multiple archetypes. Although Little Women is not exclusively a Christmas book, its opening chapters are set during Christmas, establishing generosity and family unity as central themes. The March sisters forgo their own Christmas breakfast to give food to a poor family, embodying the holiday spirit of charity. Later Christmas celebrations recur as moments of joy and reconciliation. Christmas functions symbolically. It frames the sisters' growth, reminding readers that true wealth lies in kindness and togetherness. This seasonal emphasis helped cement the novel as part of the holiday canon, often revisited during Christmas time. So this one is actually a kids' book intended for readers between 8 and 13, though its layered mythic style may also appeal to adults interested in folklore. This one is also something of an oddity and may be largely unknown to readers outside of North America. The author, L. Frank Baum, is much better known for The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, which was written in 1902, is a children's fantasy novel that reimagines the origins of Santa Claus through mythic storytelling. It stands out for blending Baum's Oz-like magical world with the Christmas tradition, offering a unique appeal rooted in imagination, morality, and wonder. Unlike traditional Christmas stories, Baum's book does not simply depict Santa as a jolly gift giver. Instead, it creates a full origin myth, situating Claus with a magical forest populated by immortals, fairies, and nymphs. Baum invents new beings, such as Ryls, Knooks, and Awgwas, to enrich the narrative, giving Santa's story the grandeur of a mythological epic rather than a simple holiday tale. This mythic framing distinguishes it from works like A Christmas Carol, which focused on real-world social critique. Baum instead emphasizes cosmic benevolence and immortality, portraying Santa as a figure chosen by the immortals to spread joy eternally. The book's appeal lies in its fusion of fantasy and tradition. Readers are drawn to its imaginative world-building. The forest of Birdsea and Laughing Valley are richly described, echoing Baum's Oz landscapes. It has moral clarity, Santa's compassion for children and his battles against the Awgwas, which are creatures who despise joy. And this dramatizes the triumph of kindness over cruelty. It satisfies curiosity about how Santa became who he is, offering a mythic explanation for toys, reindeer, and his immortality. Taking the bronze medal, we have Terry Pratchett's Hogfather. Written in 1996, it is the 20th Discworld novel and the 4th to feature death as a central character. It is explicitly rooted in Christmas traditions, though refracted through Pratchett's satirical, metaphysical, and myth-blending lens. The book focuses on the appearance of the Hogfather, Discworld's equivalent of Father Christmas, and the cosmic consequences of losing belief in him. Hogfather is built on the architecture of Christmas mythology. The Hogfather is a jolly winter deity who delivers gifts on Hogswatch night, on the 32nd of December. It is a clear parody of Santa Claus. The novel unfolds during this holiday, complete with decorations, shopping malls, children's wishes, and the cultural rituals of gift-giving. But Pratchett goes deeper than parody. This book examines the nature of belief. It explores why humans need myths, especially in winter, and it looks at the spirit of giving, which is explored through satire of consumerism and charity. And there's also the look at the ancient roots of winter festivals, which connect the Hogfather to primal solstice archetypes. This novel appeals to fans of fantasy with philosophical depth and to those who enjoy satire of holiday traditions. Also those who appreciate mythology, folklore and metafiction, and anyone who wants a Christmas story that is funny, strange and emotionally resonant. Taking the Silvermill is a representative of another subgenre closely related to the festive season in the UK, namely Christmas ghost stories. M.R. James's collected ghost stories gathers the tales that made him the defining voice of the English ghost story. First published in 1931, the volume brings together stories originally written for Christmas Eve, which were read at Cambridge University and later at Eton College, where James would read a new ghost story aloud to friends and students. This ritual is what firmly ties his work to Christmas. The stories were made for the season, crafted to be read in firelit rooms on winter nights, designed to unsettle rather than terrify. His ghost stories are not romantic or tragic. They are hostile, tactile, and often horrifyingly physical. A hand made of spider-like hair, a creature formed from sheets, a face emerging from a carving. James's monsters are unforgettable because they are described with scholarly precision. The stories are also structurally distinctive, a slow scholarly beginning, a discovery, a creeping sense of wrongness, and finally a moment of shocking revelation. Plots often revolve around the uncovering of something ancient and dangerous, such as an object, a document, or a tomb, followed by the protagonist's gradual realization that they have awakened or attracted a supernatural force. James's ghosts rarely speak. They rather manifest, often in grotesque, tactile ways that leave the protagonist psychologically or physically scarred. These stories will appeal to anyone who loves atmospheric horror rather than gore, and to fans of classic British literature, especially Victorian and Edwardian. Folklore and antiquarian enthusiasts also. Anyone who enjoys Christmas ghost stories, a tradition revived today through reading, broadcasts and winter anthologies. Notably, the BBC has recently produced several of the stories as good quality TV adaptations that are well worth a watch. And taking the gold, we have C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, written in 1950. It is the first published and most iconic of the Narnia series books. It blends fairy tale wonder, Christian symbolism, and winter mythology into a story that has become a modern Christmas classic. Lewis, a devout Christian and a scholar of medieval literature, infused the novel with spiritual resonance without writing a strict allegory. He suffused his most famous work, with overt Christian symbolism and structured its climax around a resurrection narrative. Christmas is woven into the novel's symbolic structure. The witch's reign suppresses Christmas itself. It's always winter and never Christmas, which is a metaphor for a world without spiritual hope. When Aslan returns, Father Christmas appears, distributing gifts that are both festive and prophetic, with tools for the coming battle. His arrival signals the breaking of winter's curse. Thus, Christmas in this novel is not decorative, it is the return of grace, the re-entry of joy and divine presence in a frozen world. This is a fairy tale infused with theology. Lewis did not intend for a one-to-one allegory. Instead, he asked, what would Christ look like in a world of talking animals and magic? He wanted children to see the miraculous elements of Christ's story in a new light. Lewis blends Christian resurrection symbolism, pagan winter mythology, medieval chivalry, and fairy tale archetypes. This creates a story that feels ancient and modern at the same time. The novel's moral clarity, with betrayal, forgiveness, sacrifice, renewal, makes profound theological ideas accessible to children. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe endures because it is more than a fantasy. It is a winter myth, a Christmas story, and a spiritual parable woven into a fairy tale. Lewis's mystical Christianity gives the novel its emotional power. A sense that behind the snow, the wardrobe, and the lion lies a deeper magic, one that speaks to longing, hope, and the return of light in the darkest of seasons. And there we have it. That was my top 12 festive reads. So what are your favourite Christmas books? And what would be your number one and why? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, take care. And remember to leave out a plate of mince pies for Santa. And have a very Merry Christmas.